I'm going to talk about the top 10 things that I implemented last year which completely changed the course of my health, and I'm going to share those with you today so that you can gain some value from what I'm talking about, from my experience, to hopefully improve your own health outcome. My name is Emma Voysey. I am a board certified health coach. Welcome to my channel. I started posting in summer last year after toying with the idea of starting a YouTube channel for a very long time, and finally I got round to it. My channel is related to all things health, but health from a holistic perspective rather than symptom suppression, which is the way that Western medicine has gone over the years, whereby you have a symptom and it's suppressed with usually a pharmaceutical or a mechanical means. I am more a believer in the Eastern medicine approach, whereby we look for the root cause of why you're getting sick or whatever the problem is in the first place, and what can be done to change that, using lifestyle and dietary changes. I am not a doctor. For a joke, some of my friends call me Dr. M, which was a long-standing joke from having to listen to me for decades going on about nutrition and health, and just it's always been a massive passion of mine. My channel, as I said, I'm not a health professional. Nothing I say should replace medical advice. Always consult with a doctor before changing any aspect of your own healthcare. My channel is all about health, looking at it from a holistic, whole body approach rather than symptom suppression or just treating the symptom, the end result of dis-ease within your body. This is an approach which is adopted by the Eastern way of looking at medicine rather than the Western way, which is about pharmaceuticals and interventions to try and fix things in the body, rather than unearthing the root cause and treating that instead. This video is about the top 10 changes I made, and the number one biggest, most life-changing decision, actually probably one of the most biggest life-changing decisions I made for my health ever, which created a cascade of other great changes, was joining the Primal Bod program. And I was introduced to the person who created this program, the brainchild, whose name is 𝐇𝐎𝐒. I was introduced to her by a friend who had been watching her on Instagram, and then I started following her, and I couldn't quite figure out what it was she was doing. Her program looked amazing, she looked amazing, but without joining the program I was already eating a ketogenic diet. I thought I was already doing all the things that she was doing, but in the end I decided to join her program. Now, as I said, this plan was the brainchild of 𝐇𝐎𝐒, who is an American nutrition coach who had figured out this connection between regulating blood sugar, insulin, the fat storing hormone, and weight loss, fat loss in the body. It resulted in, unexpectedly, she wasn't looking for this answer. She was looking for a way to help her type 1 diabetic husband to use less medication, and unexpectedly resulted in, for herself, the reduction and elimination of really stubborn, unwanted body fat. She was slim and she exercised a lot, but she still had a lot of cellulite around her thighs and the bum and the places we get cellulite. She was really fit, and yet she could never, despite exercising, which just goes to show you can't exercise your way out of a bad diet. She changed her diet, and without needing to exercise manically, without starving, in fact it's completely the opposite, you eat an abundant amount of food, but eating primally, so eating the way our ancestors ate, looked at through the lens of how man has evolved. It wasn't actually very long ago that we were living in caves and hunting primarily animals for our main food source. That's how humans evolved. And in turn reducing and reversing many other symptoms, numerous conditions, diseases of the body and brain, just by eating a primal diet. Candy calls Primal Bod a weight loss program just to hook you in, but it is so much more. It worked so fast. I lost around 20 pounds of stubborn body fat. I wasn't even looking to lose what I lost because I never thought it was possible. I'd always been around 150 pounds. I'm quite tall. I'm 5'8.5". I was always around 10.5, 11 stone, and I was always fit and active, but I did worry about how I was going to control my weight once I got to the point where I couldn't be active anymore, because as you get older, for me anyway, it became less about being slim and more about trying to fix health issues. So gradually I had gut issues which had crept in over a period of about 10 or 15 years. Probably didn't really even notice them to begin with, but then they became more chronic and they worried me because I had a very close relative who died of gut-related diseases, Crohn's and colitis. And I went to the medical professionals. I had the scans, I had the endoscopy where they look down and tell you, no, there's nothing wrong with you. But you think, well, there must be something wrong because I'm getting bloating, painful bloating and acid in my chest, and I can't fix this. And then you start speaking to other people and realise that so many people are suffering from these type of problems. Anyway, I started the Primal Bod programme in May last year. It was a 3-month programme and it worked so fast. Within a few days, I no longer had any gut pain. It just stopped. It just all went away. And then I started losing body fat and I started gaining muscle, and it was just like, this is absolutely incredible, hallelujah. And I lost my cravings. I no longer was a slave to my desires to eat the wrong kind of foods because I just didn't want to eat them anymore. So the program for me was worth every penny. I would have paid, knowing what I know about it now, I would have paid double without hesitation. So that was my number one thing for 2024. I'll put a link below so that if you're interested at all in anything of what I've just said, you can have a look at it yourself and see if it's something that you feel that could benefit you. So on to my number 2 thing. So having sorted out my diet, just like winning the lottery as far as I'm concerned, number 2, I detoxed my home environment. So I detoxed from as many chemicals as I could and replaced them with safer alternatives. So cleaning chemicals, you can replace them with natural alternatives like vinegar and sodium bicarbonate and citric acid, fantastic for cleaning the toilet. I changed over to natural based washing liquids because our skin is our biggest organ. It absorbs 70% of what you put in it, and our clothes are worn right next to our skin all day long, including if you include your sheets on your bed, it's all night long as well. So reducing the chemicals that are present in those washing capsules seemed to me like a really good idea. I detoxed from harmful blue light, so I got blue light blocking glasses to wear in the evenings so that when you're watching TV or looking at your phone screen, you aren't absorbed, and turning off the lights at night time, turning off the LEDs which emit so much of this blue light. Also in the daytime for computer work, wearing the yellow tinted glasses. And I will also put a link below for the company that I buy all my blue light blocking products from, because this is a big deal and it is really harming us, and it's only just become common knowledge that thing that blue light is really harmful. It's harmful for your concentration, it harms your sleep, it harms your circadian rhythm, your body's natural rhythm, which is regulated by daylight and nighttime, and having all this artificial light around us all the time is really, really toxic to us. I also detox from poor quality foods, processed junk, which I no longer needed, and because I was no longer addicted to it, and also personal and skincare products. And once you start looking, you can find all kinds of ways you can detox from chemicals in the home. I went really simple. I learned how to make my own facial moisturizer with beef tallow. Sounds disgusting, but by adding essential oils, you can take away the beefy smell. Makes a lovely moisturizer. Sorry to the vegetarians, you're not going to like that one. Just simplified everything and decided to get really conscious about where the chemicals were in the home. Another one was scented candles. I love scented candles. I love the smell of them. I love it when you walk into a shop that sells scented candles and the whole place smells amazing. You buy one and you take it home and it doesn't smell so amazing because you've just got one. But then I found out that those chemicals that they use in those candles, they damage our hormones. They are endocrine disruptors. They get into our bodies. If you're inhaling it and you can smell it, then it's getting into your brain. And we don't know the long-term effects of those things. So they had to go, sadly. I do still have candles, but they are now only beeswax or soya. So they're natural rather than having the nasty chemicals present all the time. So that was my number 2 thing, detoxing my home environment. Number 3, I focused on eating only whole, single ingredient, mostly organic foods, organic wherever possible, grass-fed meats, again, wherever possible. And I eliminated sugars in all their forms, and that included all the starches, so the things that maybe we don't even think of as sugars. So for example, all the things we don't even think of as sugars, which turn into sugar in the body. So things like rice and pasta and grains, all the grains, nuts and seeds, all the things that we're encouraged to eat because they're supposed to be good for us. They turn into sugar in the body. We chew them up in the mouth. Bread, obviously, there's a number one, easy one to recognise. Or all the bread products like the croissants, the donuts. We chew them in the mouth. Even though they might not taste particularly sweet, your body, they mix with your saliva, your body turns that into sugar. And unless you go and burn off that sugar immediately, guess what? It gets stored as fat. Our bodies are super efficient at storing fat, and we eat, our blood sugar spikes, we feel hungry again when it drops again 90 minutes later, we eat some more, and we're on this treadmill of eating too much sugar, too many carbohydrates, the wrong kind of carbs, and even what we think of as the right kind of carbs. You know, even fruit is laden with sugar, because the fruits that are modern fruits that have been selectively bred to be bigger and juicier and tastier and sweeter are a very far cry from the fruits that are, going back to those cavemen, that our cavemen ancestors would have eaten only when they were ripe, only picked off the bushes when they were ripe in the late summer and the autumn. In an effort, they ate those foods to put on fat to get them through the winter. And they were only available seasonally. And we now have this ability to be able to eat those juicy, sugary fruits at any time of the year. And yeah, it's fruit. And yes, it has some vitamins and minerals and fibre in it, but it also has a lot of sugar. And that sugar is treated no differently by my body than if I were to drink a can of Coke. And learning that is pretty mind-blowing. And it does make you think differently. So I have fruit occasionally as a treat, but largely I broke up with fruit. So that was my number 3. My number 4, I increased my water intake. Such a simple thing. Such a simple thing to do, but so many of us don't drink enough. We think we do, but we include coffees and teas. And each time you drink a cup of coffee or tea, it actually dehydrates you because it is a diuretic, so it actually dehydrates you rather than hydrating you. You don't feel thirsty necessarily. Sometimes we mistake thirst for hunger, so you think you're a bit peckish and you eat something else instead of just having a drink of water. I always drink filtered water. I try not to buy water in plastic bottles as far as possible. Sometimes it's absolutely necessary, but I filter my water at home and I take it with me in one of those stainless steel bottles. I aim for 2 to 3 litres of water a day, and I add in salt and electrolytes as well, because they help to hydrate us down at our cellular level. So it isn't just being flushed out by your kidneys making you pee a lot. Our cells don't contain just fresh water. And this led on to my next thing that I changed. Number 5 was improving my sleep. So curiously, I never realised this until I started drinking more water. Drinking more water led to better sleep. So even though previously I was waking up 3-4 times a night to go and use the bathroom, to go and have a pee, once I started drinking more water, earlier in the day, not late into the evening. Obviously you have to, if you're going to drink water all through the evening, then you are going to need to wake up and pee. It led to better sleep, and I decided to prioritise my sleep. I realised that my later evenings of scrolling through my phone, absorbing that blue light or watching stuff on TV was not really giving me any huge benefit. And because I'm so active early in the morning, but I can't wake up early in the morning if I've stayed awake till late in the evening, I decided to prioritise sleep, earlier bedtime. Yes, it's boring. Yes, I'm not the party girl I used to be, and I don't stay out late very often at all. If I want to meet friends, I tend to arrange lunches, because for me now, going out in the evening late, eating late, it doesn't hold any special excitement for me anymore. So I stopped that mindless evening TV and scrolling, and I stopped eating earlier. So I have my last meal is definitely 3 hours, sometimes longer, before I go to sleep, because if you are eating and then still digesting, so you've still got food in your stomach when you go to bed, then you are not resting and renewing. Your body, when you're asleep, when we sleep, our body is renewing, fixing things, burning fat, and rejuvenating our brains. We go through a process when we go to sleep called brain washing, where the spinal fluid travels up to the brain and literally washes the brain. Amazing, right? But that doesn't happen if you've got a stomach full of food. If you've just had a massive great big curry and it's 11 o'clock and you just went to bed, you aren't going to be resting and in relaxation and rest mode for hours, hours of the night. Maybe half the night's taken up. And of course your digestion slows down because it's nighttime. Everything slows down at nighttime. So that's not even happening. That brainwashing, which is so vital for our long-term health, so vital to ward off Alzheimer's and other brain-related diseases. You have to really look after your brain, and more as you get older. So it's prioritising sleep. That was my number 5. My sleep is now way better than it used to be. I still wake up most nights once a night to pee, but hey, I can live with that. I go straight back to sleep. I don't lie awake for hours anymore like I used to in the middle of the night trying to get back to sleep. Nothing is more frustrating. So figuring out sleep and prioritising that was a big one. That was my number 5. My number 6 big change I made last year was I reduced plastics. That included single-use plastics like plastic bottles, plastic cookware, plastic chopping boards, plastic storage. I replaced it with glass, so glass for storing food in the fridge, for example, and cling film, saran wrap, the plastic wrap that we put on directly onto our foods. They all leach chemicals. Plastic is made of chemicals. They all leach into our food, and then they get into us, including microplastics, little tiny particles, which the body doesn't know what to do with, so it stores it away. It's really, really bad for us. So, and then also in that category, aluminium foil had to go, because I discovered that when you heat it, it drips aluminium into your food. Very bad. And non-stick pans of Teflon that non-stick pans are made from, when it gets damaged, which is very easy to happen, and I often go into people's homes where they're using horrible old pans which are all scratched. All of those particles are all ending up in the body, so that had to go. So that was another big detox, getting rid of or reducing as far as possible plastics. Sometimes I use a plastic water bottle if there's no other choice, and usually I fill up my stainless steel water bottles and I carry them with me. Think of it as weight training. Number 7, I changed how I exercise. So I used to go to the gym a lot. I used to do a lot of long cardio, or when I was younger I loved doing step classes, and really I never thought I was exercising unless my heart was racing for the entire time I was exercising. So, and I swapped that out. I have a dog now who desperately loves, more than anything else in the world, his favourite thing is running up the mountain after his ball and going for walks. And so as not to run out of time in the day, he needs walking twice. Just fitting the gym in became a bit of a challenge. So I stopped going to the gym and I started instead including exercise snacking, which I incorporated into my day. And this is where you fit exercise in and around what you're doing. So while I'm waiting for the kettle to boil, I can be doing some squats. While I'm walking, I can be doing some lunges, press-ups, bodyweight exercises like pull-ups. We have a pull-up bar in the flat, which is brilliant. You can hang off it and stretch. You can do full bodyweight pull-ups, which I think the maximum I've got to, and if I've been working on it for a year, is I can do 5. But they're hard, they're really tough, but amazing for your definition of the arms and back and chest. Same as press-ups, are just brilliant. Sprints, I introduced short sprints in August. I started doing that every other day. So in my walks, I will, not with the weighted vest on, but I will do 50 to 100 meter sprints. I only need to do 4 of them in a session or across 2 walk sessions in that day. Then you have a day's rest, then you sprint again the next day. So movement is vital, but intense, long duration, high intensity movement isn't vital. It's too stressful. It causes our cortisol, which is our stress hormone levels, to shoot up. Cortisol is released when the body perceives stress. Your body doesn't know the difference between you being chased by a saber-toothed tiger or just you're running, for example, and your body doesn't know that you're not being chased by a tiger. So it releases the stress hormones. I do yoga every morning, 20 minutes minimum, but sometimes 30. That's been brilliant. I've been doing that for nearly 2 years now, but last year I built more muscles and completely changed my body composition because of the way I was eating, because of the way I changed my diet. But primarily I walk. That is always the non-negotiable every day because of Mr. Dog here. That has been fantastic. And often I walk with my weighted vest, which goes some way to replacing some of the fat I lost from my body. So when you lose weight, your metabolism correspondingly adjusts down. And to replace the weight I lost, I now wear a vest to walk, which means I'm still working. It means I don't have to reduce what I'm eating because I still am burning as much energy as I was when I weighed 20 pounds more. Not that I'm up to a 20-pound vest just yet, but I'm working towards it. So that's number 7, changed how I exercised. Number 8, I actively reduced stress. I came away from the news and these sensationalist, scary headlines because they just worry me, makes me feel sad, causes me stress. Decided it wasn't of any advantage. If I really need to know something, then somebody will tell me about it if it's important enough. And I realised that these activities that spike cortisol were not serving me well. Stress comes to us in many forms. Stressful relationships are also damaging. So it's important to limit our exposure to negative friendships or even annoying colleagues. Anything that annoys you or worries you or upsets you or makes you sad is causing you stress. And those little increments of stress add up over the years. So I decided to clean up the areas which were causing me stress and try to remain more zen, and that's where things like the yoga have just been fantastic because it involves the deep breathing and the sleeping better because it enables you to face the day, and sleeping longer gives you those tools to manage other aspects of your life. So that was number 8, actively reducing my stress. Number 9, I embraced weekly fasts, fasting 24 hours once a week, and also just eating in a smaller window. So many of us wake up in the morning and eat as soon as we're awake, and then we don't stop eating. We eat, we snack, we eat meals, we snack between meals, we eat and munch and graze our way through the whole day, and then it gets to the evening and you're still eating, which I covered before, right up to bedtime, which affects your digestion, which affects your sleep. So just eating in a reduced window. I reintroduced eating breakfast because of doing Candy's plan, and for a long time I'd skipped breakfast and pushed on to lunchtime, but then I would snack through the morning. I wasn't really fasting. So I've found that by eating my breakfast, eating a really good sustaining breakfast, that in some cases I don't feel hungry again till the end of the afternoon, that has massively improve my energy levels. So I eat a good breakfast, I then eat one other meal, whether it's lunch or a later lunch, but I've always finished eating by 4 or 5 o'clock latest, and I don't snack anymore. I can't snack because it's my understanding that you need to completely digest everything that's in your stomach before you eat again. So if you eat your meal and then half an hour later you eat something else, wherever the digestion has got to by that point of all the other food in your stomach, which is being macerated down into this liquid so it can pass down through into your small intestine. So wherever that's got to, if you eat another mouthful of something, if you eat another nut or anything, even something small, everything else, the digestion pauses, and then it all has to wait for that nut or whatever you've just eaten, apple, donut, Mars bar, whatever it is, it's all got to get to the same point before the digestion of the rest of it can continue. So it slows down your digestion, and slow digestion leads to other problems in the body. So we want our digestion to be as efficient as possible, not inefficient. So I embrace the weekly fasting. I eat in a smaller window. I don't snack anymore. And also I found that when you eat enough protein, you're being nutritionally satisfied, and you no longer crave the rubbish, which is like, hallelujah. Who knew? People eat all day long, all the time, and yet their bodies are literally starved of nutrients, and they can be obese. They can be hugely overweight and diabetic and all the related problems, and still be hungry and still be undernourished. You know, you see those people, you think, how can they eat so much? Why do they still keep eating? Because they're never satisfied, because they're not eating enough protein. Nourished with the right foods, and the cravings just disappear, which is just so amazing and so freeing. So you eat primally, and you no longer need those quick sugar hits, and you're not tempted by the crappy foods that perhaps you used to be tempted by. And number 10, I started a morning gratitude journal. This focused me on all the positives in my life and stopped me dwelling on negatives anymore. And because if I can't change them, then especially that, you know, it's just really, really of no advantage to be focused on them. So instead of worrying about bad news and terrible things happening in the world, I know they're out there, I know they're happening, but I can't change them. I focus on things like the sun is shining. I'm looking forward to a delicious steak for my lunch. I'm going to be taking my dog up the mountain later. I'm going to go and have a ski. Whatever those positive things are, and then you write them down and you focus on them. My body is healthy. My healthy body. I am so grateful to discover that as you get into your 50s, you go past, as I have, you go past menopause. You don't have to deplete. You don't have to just get into a worse and worse state of health just because of your age. It's not related to your age. It's related to the way you live your life, your lifestyle, and the nutrition choices that you make. So learning that was just so enlightening, because I no longer fear old age, because I know that I'm going to be able to stand up and get myself off the toilet when I'm 95, and I know I'm going to be able to still walk up the mountain with maybe not this dog, but with another dog, because I will always maintain my fitness. I have no intention of changing any of what I'm doing now, except to continue to improve. So we all get wrapped up in trying to be perfect. There's no reason to be. It's just about being here and now and in the present. And when I realised that, it made me a whole lot happier and more satisfied with life in general. Just focusing on the positives and being grateful for all the amazing things in life. And I highly recommend a book I read last year called The Gap and the Gain by Dan Sullivan, who's a world-leading coach of entrepreneurs, and he wrote this book, The High Achiever's Guide to Happiness, Confidence and Success. Such a brilliant book. Just a few simple mindset changes, and it just changes everything. It just changes your perception of you, your perception of a glass being half full rather than being half empty, which is always a brilliant analogy. Or if you've seen that cartoon where you've got two people on an empty bus, one is on the dark side looking out, you know, the side without the sunshine, looking out, looking sad, and the other guy's on the sunny side of the bus looking out, being happy and delighted. And it's the same bus, it's the same bus journey, it's just the perception of it, your perception of your life is the most important thing, because how you perceive things is how they will be for you. So my morning gratitude journal, and I use one from Intelligent Change, which my eldest daughter introduced me to, and it's just great. And it has daily platitudes, daily things to, you know, great thoughts for the day. It encourages you to write about the brilliant things that happened the day before, the highlights of the day, and it just focuses you on the good stuff in life, and that is really super important. So if you've watched all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy my content, please like and subscribe, and I will continue to bring you health related content, all aspects of health. I'm so passionate about our ability to be in control of our health. You know, we are responsible. I am responsible for my health. I do not give that responsibility to anybody else, because I know my body and me better than anybody else does, because I live there. So we only have one body. Just look after it, treasure it, and treat it the best way you possibly can, so you can go into your latter years being healthy and pain-free, because nothing is worth more than that. Without good health, you know, what else do you have? Thanks again for watching. See you next time.